Time now for Coming In Hot with Brent Wallace, former Ottawa Senator Jason York, and Graham Nichols.
Hey everybody, welcome to Coming In Hot. Brent Wallace alongside two of my favorite people, Callum Fraser from Postmedia and Alex Adams from Sportsnet. Nice to see both of you. Thanks for joining me. It'll actually, you know what? This may turn out to be the best episode ever in Coming In Hot history.
Thanks for having me, Brent. I'm excited to talk to you rather than just being beside you in the press box and both of us being very pessimistic about the Ottawa Senators.
Speak for yourself, Alex. I, by the way, use a foam finger, okay? Callum, nice to see you.
Hey, Brent. I'll you know what? I'll add a little bit to that pessimism here. When I was asked to come on the show, a little peek behind the curtain, Wally said, "You want to come on Tuesday and talk about how the Sens playoff hopes are dashed?"
No, wait a second. I'm checking this. This isn't true.
I mean, I'm paraphrasing it on my phone in front of me, but
I now need to look this up. I don't believe this is a falsehood. This is fake news.
Go for it.
God, now I can't find you. Hang on. We'll get to this in a sec. I'm going to need my assistant. Oh,
I got it.
Oh, yeah, I did say that.
Yes. Would you like to join us Tuesday morning, 9 a.m., so we can discuss how the Sens are done for the season? Winky face. The winky face is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that text.
See, and I spelled Sens wrong. It says Suns, so therefore I didn't really say anything about the Sens. Damn it. Well, the show's over.
You know, I actually asked Nichols on Saturday. I was like, is Wally doing like a reverse jinx here? Does he really actually just want the Sens to make it, and he's trying to like set us up for a good show?
This is gonna be a great show. We do have a lot to discuss, so we will basically be here until drop of the puck at 7 p.m. So settle in, everybody. This show brought to you by Bet365. Hockey fans, check out the Bet365 3-goal early payout. When your team goes up by 3, you get paid. It's that simple. Download the app today. It must be 19 plus, Ontario only. There's a lot to get through, but I think the first thing I need to discuss is one, Thomas Shabbat. We'll get to the call-ups later. It should hopefully be made official by the time we're close to the end of the show. Should be Carter Yakemchuk and Jordan Don. We'll get to that in a sec. But losing Thomas Shabbat, who at the end of the game had his wrist, arm in a brace. This is a massive blow to the Ottawa Senators, without question.
It feels like just this has happened time and time again with this team. We had Brady Tkachuk go down early in the season when the Sens had started the season pretty well. And then obviously Jake Sanderson the day after the trade deadline when the Sens couldn't make a move to kind of add some reinforcements. Now Thomas Shabbat's out, and it's going to be a whirlwind of like tonight, just crazy that they played their biggest game of the season without their two top defensemen after a game where they played with 4 defensemen for half the game. Like, it's going to be crazy. And him wearing a cast that does not feel out for a while feels like the right timeline for Thomas Shabbat.
It's tough too, because you lose that entire second pairing in Jensen and Shabbat at times in which both of those players were really ramping up their games. Like when Jensen went down, it was the best 2-week stretch we had seen since the previous season from him after some really, really poor play. Like he was awful for the first half of the season. And then Shabbat without Sanderson, the first few games, I thought was maybe his worst 3 games of the season. And ever since then, he built on his game, and he recognized that like the offense is going to come. You just got to take care of your own zone. And like last night, that's brutal. That's absolutely brutal. I can't fathom like what this D core is thinking or what Travis is thinking. You have 5 of your top 9 defensemen in the organization that are out right now. And it is going to be like, it was all hands on deck for 40 minutes to finish that game last night. It's going to be a completely different type of all hands on deck for this one, because who knows how much you can give to Donovan and Yakemchuk. Like maybe you put Yakemchuk on that second power play unit or first, realistically. But I mean, from Zub, Matt and Paolo, Spence, and Clevin, like they're all going to be playing around 25 minutes tonight again.
Wild to watch, and I've seen it a few times. It rarely happens. I've seen it a few times, but to lose when you've already lost Thomas Chabot and company, Jake Sanderson and company, to lose Thomas Chabot, you're just like, can they hold on? The Rangers are pretty bad, and they've only got like 4 shots or 2 shots after the first. But man, you're like, so who steps up? It was good to see. I thought Jordan Spence played, and he's played really well of late. In 60 games, he's been really, really good. But he set a career high, I think 26 minutes last night. I don't know how you play 2 rookies in your lineup making their NHL debuts, but Nolan Baumgartner has certainly got a challenge in front of him. What do you do?
Yeah, it's interesting because you'd prefer to have your top 4 like play the vast majority of the minutes. So what are you doing? Are you double shifting like Spence and Clevin with Donovan and Yakemchuk sometimes? Like I don't know. It's an interesting problem here.
The only thing is you're hoping Ottawa has a big lead. Right? Like I don't mean that facetiously, but if it's a 1-0 Detroit win in the third period, or a 1-0 lead in the third period, what, like, are they going to be on the ice?
No, I think it's going to be, if the Sens are up a goal late in the third period, you're just going to see 4, like the top 4 now, which is crazy with Nicholas Van Palo and Artem Zub on a top 4 pairing. What a time. But it's going to be those guys. And if you watch how Travis Green's kind of deployed his defensemen throughout the year when they had Sanderson and Shabbat, look how much time Sanderson would play late in games. Or when Sanderson went out, Shabbat was playing the majority of like late games when Ottawa was up with a lead. So, yeah, I don't think Donovan and Yakemchuk are going to play a lot. It's probably going to be as the game progresses, especially if the game's close. Those guys, their ice time's going to diminish, and it's going to be a lot of double shifting for the top 4.
How about those 2 guys getting the call? First, you're excited to play your first NHL game. This is arguably the biggest game of the Sens season on the line, and you're being called into action.
Potentially the biggest regular season game in a long time, right?
Yes.
And it's I mean, there's a ton of pressure. It's interesting, like we heard Steos say a couple months ago, like we would have had Yakemchuk in by now if our D-core wasn't playing this well. And I'm pretty sure Carter also had an injury earlier this season. Mm-hmm. So it's tough, man. Like he's played great in preseason a couple of years in a row now, and it's just, this is a brutal time to be thrown into the fire, because not only is this a massive game, but I mean, the way that top 4, or I guess I should say the 4 remaining defensemen played that game last night, I'm really questioning, like, how much do they have left? Because in the third period, like at the end of a shorthanded shift, like Tyler Clevin sprinted up the ice to join a 2-on-1 shorthanded rush. Like they were playing so hard last night. They blocked more shots than Reimer made saves from the D-core. Like these guys were, I think there was I'm not in their mindset or whatever, right? And Travis is like, we got to get ready tomorrow's a massive game. They know that they have a chance to win, but I think there was somewhat, if they were being honest with themselves, like, hey, we have a much better opportunity to win this game tonight if we batten down the hatches and really play shutdown defense, and then we'll see what happens tomorrow. But if we lose tonight, then it's not looking good for this mini road trip and our playoff chances. So I think they put it all on the table last night. We'll see. They're probably not leaving their hotel for until late this afternoon today. Get a lot of sleep, and after taking a bird to Detroit. But it'll be interesting how much Travis can actually still rely on his top 4 tonight.
I'm going to go with adrenaline. Sure. Like there's no bigger challenge for those 4 than what they're getting right now. So you want to show that you can do this, right? You want to make Tyler Clevin and Jordan Spence were the number 3 D pairing a week ago, 2 weeks ago, right? And now they are arguably controlling this blue line. I think they're running on adrenaline.
Can I give some optimism?
No. There's no time for that. Moving on.
I'm going to go glass half full a little bit. I know it's not a good time with everything there you go, Callum. But Jordan Spence and Tyler Clevin have been Ottawa's best pairing since Jake Sanderson went out. They've been better than Shabbat Zub. I think the way they played against top competition has been really impressive. I thought early in the year when Shabbat went out with his injury earlier, I thought they kind of waned a little bit against, going up to the second pairing. They have not done that. I know it's the Rangers last night, not the best quality of competition, but against, the better teams that they've been playing, the Islanders, Anaheim as well, they played really well. At the same time, with Carter Yakemchuk, again, I don't think he's ready for the NHL right now, but he just won Player of the Week in the AHL 2 weeks ago. He's been playing better. I'm pretty sure he was a -40. Now he's a -30, so he's kind of improved a little bit at 5-on-5. Although plus minus is an imperfect stat anyways, and Belleville isn't that good. But he's been playing better as well since he's come back from injury. So. And they need a puck mover, and he is that. Outside of Jordan Spence, they don't have a lot. He's going to have that opportunity. So, again, not an ideal situation, but I also think there's reasons to have some hope as well.
Okay, let me put it to you this way, because you guys both know how Travis Green is with trust. He has trust issues. And we saw that with Jordan Spence earlier in the season until Spence understood what he wanted from that system. So do you really think Carter Yakemchuk is going to play a lot of ice tonight?
No, but I think there's an opportunity for him to play like 9 or 10 minutes maybe. And I'll say they have actually prepared as much as they possibly can outside of having him play NHL games, because Yakemchuk was up for like a week and a half during that Olympic break and stayed with the Sens, I believe, for like a night and a couple days after the season got underway. And we asked Travis, first of all, watching practice, there were a ton of scrimmage reps, like 5-on-5 reps where Travis would blow the whistle and talk to his guys. And Yakemchuk was one of those players that he really took a lot of time with. And he said, in a couple of, post-practice media avails, we're doing a lot of video with this kid right now. And they took that time really seriously. And I think that, it's one thing to have, Yakemchuk try and build his defensive game in the AHL, and he's doing a lot of work with the coaches there for sure. But what better environment to learn how to defend at the NHL level than from potentially the best defensive team that we've seen in the past few years? Again, Wally, you mentioned the Rangers aren't good, but with 4 defensemen, the Sens held them to single-digit shots. So yeah, there's a mix of being thrown into the fire, but also I couldn't dream of a better environment or coaching staff or structure or strategy for him to learn the defensive game and be prepared to jump in at a moment's notice like this.
Fair. I just wish it was Detroit last night, the Rangers tonight.
Yep. I was thinking the same thing yesterday, Wally. Oh man. And that's the second time this year they played Detroit on a back-to-back when Detroit's rested and Ottawa isn't. I'm like, what are the schedule makers doing? I don't get it. I don't get it.
It seems like every team's had a qualm with the schedule this season. Like it's insane.
Yeah. Well, there's no way, you can't predict that Detroit's going to be that team game 71, right? So that's just the way it goes. And down the stretch, you're always facing your own division for the most part. Hey, if Ottawa wants to be in the playoffs, they got to beat the best teams. They got to beat them all, right? Either you're in because you're good or you're not. And they've won now 4 in a row. I can't even keep it straight anymore. It's because James Reimer's won 4 in a row. That's why. But we'll get to James Reimer in a sec. Bear with me. Have a drink. I need to do some business. This show brought to you by Shoeless Joe's in Kemptville and in Orleans. Check them out for all their daily deals. Always a good time. Don't forget my favorite is Maritime Monday, fish and chips on Monday. Wednesday's Big Burger Energy. And, of course, Tuesday is all-you-can-eat wings. Sorry, $10 wings. Check them out. Shoeless Joe's, Kemptville and in Orleans. Also by BEI, our good friends at BEI, helping to shape the Ottawa Valley, of course. 613-432-1120 if you want to give them a call about perhaps some spring sprucing up, if you will, the driveway, any of your aggregates, custom crushing and screening, all of that stuff. Give BEI a call. Always remember, slow down in construction zones. And, of course, Beyond the Pale. BTP is one of Ottawa's go-to craft breweries, serving up some of the city's favorite beers with new seasonal releases always on tap. 2 great locations, 250 City Center and, of course, 21 George Street in the Byward Market. Great food, great beers, good people. And speaking of good people, we'll be there. Live show April 15th, last game of the regular season. You can make reservations online, btpshop.ca. All right, thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate your time. Just had to pay some bills. All right, so let's finish up on the D, and then we'll move on to the goaltending. Is there any surprises in the 4 players that remained in the game? Now, I should make a comment that Lassi Thomson got called up playing his first game in over 1,200 days in the NHL. It was a great story until it wasn't, and he ended up limping off the ice, which is tough. And they could have used it. I can imagine that's devastating for Lassi Thomson. Right here, you make it back to the NHL, and in the first period, you're out. But the other 4 guys, I just really think Jordan Spence has certainly elevated his game. Thanks, Tips.
It's crazy just how much he didn't start the season with this team, and now he's their best defenseman. Maybe it's him or Clevin. I mean, Zub's played well too, but he's their most impactful defenseman. It feels like you notice him on the ice so much, especially when Shabbat went down. He felt like the one guy kind of carrying the weight offensively and kind of getting the puck out of their own zone. And he's been immense. He has 5 points in his last 5 games. Without Sanderson, he's kind of been much better offensively, manning the second power play unit that scored twice in the last 4 or 5 games. And I believe from like mid-January to last Sunday, they had not scored. The second unit hadn't scored a goal. Jordan Spence takes over and they start humming a little bit. And that Pinto goal was big last night. So I think he's been unbelievable. And I think, it's interesting. He's probably wanted to play 20, 25 minutes a night in the NHL for a long time, right? He was third pairing in LA, comes to Ottawa. He's not isn't on the roster to begin the season, and now has this huge role. Like, I'm sure he's in a sense happy about it. Obviously, not that Chabot's injured, but I'm sure he loves to play more, and he looks like he's ready for it.
And I think that a big factor has been how Tyler Clevin actually has raised his game the past few months here. Like he had a really tough season, I think, up until like late December, early January, but then something clicked between the two of them. And when it did, he looked a lot more confident with the puck in all 3 zones, actually. And, I look at a couple of plays last night, like in the first period, Spence does a great job actually of kind of pinching in the neutral zone to kind of force the opposition to dump the puck in. And then Clevin's actually been really, really good with those like quick curls in the defensive corners, picking up pucks and then looking up ice. And last night he did exactly that, flipped a puck out, and, Tim had a great skill move to get by a New York defender and then create something. And then Clevin had 6 shots last night and
after 2 periods
dented the left post. Like, it is something. There's something to be said about a pairing that has a puck-moving defenseman like Jordan Spence, where we saw it with Erik Karlsson and Mark Mathot, right? Like Mathot would send the puck over to EK, and EK would do the rest, right? There wasn't a lot of D-to-D passes the other way. Spence really trusts Tyler Clevin, and he doesn't just have a bomb of a shot, right? Like, he scored, I think, 3 or 4 goals sneaking in from the left side and getting a quick one-timer off or beating a goaltender one-on-one with a wrist shot. Like, Tyler Clevin actually has some pretty good offensive upside in the O-zone. And I think it just took a lot of trust between both of them to raise individually, on top of that, both of their games in the D and O-zone. They've been fantastic. And I think they really trust each other out there now.
They have been fun to watch, and it was. I don't think it was Meth just passing the puck to Eric. I believe it was Karlsson demanding the puck. I think that's how it went. Yeah, you only had to tell him once. Yeah. Okay. Here you go. James Reimer is now won his last 4 starts. Interesting. I thought Reimer had not played at MSG longer than it took for Lassi Thomson to get back in the league. It was over 12. I think it was 1,249 days that he hadn't played at MSG. Anyway. He is now rocking a .933 save percentage and a goals against of 1 in his last 4 games. I know the Rangers had 9 shots, and I know he let in 1 goal, but I thought he was outstanding. Again, you just want goaltenders to help you win games, and that's what they've done, certainly over the last 25 games.
there was a chance with like 5 minutes left, and I think Mika Zibanejad got a backdoor pass from JT Miller, and Reimer made a spectacular save. And you're like, if that goes in, it's 2-2, 4 defensemen late in the like. It was just like those timely saves that this team has been missing really since this last stretch where I think they're 13-2-2 in their last 15, right? Like before that, they had obviously the worst goaltending in the league, and he's been a huge just really steady. You can tell he's played a long time in the league. Like there's just a calmness around his game. And at times he's looked better than Linus Ullmark in net, which is interesting. But I think there's still obviously Ullmark's the guy unless something dramatically changes. But he's been such a stabilizer for Ottawa in the back end and has played really, really well.
It's so impressive to see not only how he handles games in which he's seeing like 10 to 15 shots a night. And it was interesting to hear him actually a few nights ago say, I talked to myself a lot in the third period there. I think it was against the Islanders. Yeah, they had one shot in the third period, and he's just like, I'm just going through my cues like over and over and over again, like kind of trying to keep myself in the game and like make sure my fundamentals are there and whatnot. And last night, I wonder what he was screaming to himself all game, because it was even less action there. But on top of that, too, it's not just the in-game stuff, right? Like, this guy, he's been a starter in the league for a very, very long time. Obviously not up until, the last couple of years. And he's playing once a week, right? And that's got to be tough, especially because they don't practice a lot. And like not very many teams are practicing a lot. They're not out there after games many days, right? So it's been really, really impressive to see how he can stay in games. But then also on top of that, Alex mentioned he made a clutch save in the third period too, but there were a lot of times where the Sens were like kind of hemmed in their own zone for maybe like 30 or 40 seconds, and he just found a way to smother a puck, get a stoppage, and the team reset. And I think that's just like savvy veteran moves from him.
Well, you guys have seen it, and it's rare. Like his teams used to practice a lot more. As we sit in the room and wait for players to come in, I guess we don't get to sit. Reimer is still on the ice. He's on the ice more than any other backup goalie I can remember in franchise history. And I mean that because he just wants shots. He just wants pucks. He stays out a really long time. Normally he's still on the ice when we're going upstairs to talk to Travis Green. You know that he needs the work, if you will, or wants it.
And what's interesting is I remember talking to Levy when he was up and talking about, because the Sens had the same dynamic where they were completely hemming in teams, giving up 15 to 20 shots. And he's like, it's really hard because you feel the puck, you see the puck. And if you don't have a chance or you don't get any shots for 5-10 minutes, you don't feel engaged. And then it's a breakaway and then bang, it's 1-0. And it's just, I think with Reimer there, he's been through it. He works his tail off, as you mentioned, and he just understands kind of the rhythm of a game where, especially when the teams, how many times has he been in net and his team has outshot someone 30 to 15 in a game, right? Probably a lot. He's played a long time in the NHL. Levy Maryland, not so much. Right?
I was with the Leafs. They weren't very good.
I was going to say, he's got to do with teams that get shelled.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, the good old Leafs. But and obviously, well, he did it on Saturday just against, or I guess he was backup, but watched it in that Sens Leafs game, Battle of Ontario. 43-14, which is just incredible. But I think he's been great, and I think the fact that he's been such a stabilizer, I think takes the onus off Ullmark as well. Obviously, he played the back-to-back a couple weekends ago, but I think it's really helped Ullmark as well.
So you know what's crazy? We continue to not fully trust Linus Ullmark, I believe the term would be. However, in his last 18 games, he's 12-2-3. with an 897, which is average, and a 241. Like, the numbers are pretty good over the last 18. I think maybe now we should trust it. We should give him the Jordan Spence treatment from Travis Green and trust him fully. Maybe.
I think he looks again like a bona fide number one goaltender.
He does,
really. And I think earlier in the season, it looked like he was trying to be someone he wasn't, like trying to make a ton of super athletic saves and really like anticipate, cross ice passes and like make these like crazy, again, athletic moves. He's a first save goalie. And that works incredibly well with a team like the Senators, who do a very good job at clearing the front of the net. And their coverage was brutal, in my opinion, for the first like 3 months of the season. They have tightened that up so well. You rarely see, and unfortunately, I think like Shane Pinto's coverage last night was tough on that 2-1 goal, but
questionable.
In structural like D zone play, they're rarely allowing guys to sneak in on like down low. The power play, you never see that anymore, and that's how teams like murdered them on the man advantage, like just brutal coverage from the guy in front of the net, whether it was like Zub, Sanderson, or Clevin, whatever. They would have no idea. Their spatial awareness was brutal. They've cleaned that up entirely. And this goaltender, Linus Ullmark, if he plays to the style that he has been known for in his entire career in the NHL, you make that first save, you're going to have a lot more shutouts than poor games.
Yeah. Just with Ullmark, I think the team in front of him, as you said, Callum, has just been so good, right? An 897, and they're what you said, 12-3-2, or I forget what the exact stat line was, but they're like on a crazy pace. And it's because earlier in the season, he wasn't making, I think there was a lot of goals that went in that shouldn't go in. I think he's making the saves that he needs to make. He's not stealing games for them, but they just need him to be adequate. And I think he's done that, and credit to him. But do I feel like if they go in a playoff series, if they make the playoffs and they need him to steal a game, he has not done that this year. And again, I think tonight is almost his legacy game. Like, everything going against this team, they need him to steal the game tonight. They need him to be better than John Gibson, who's been better than him in the 3 games they played against Detroit this year. So for me, Ullmark, this is like the put up or shut up time. And if he steals the game, credit to him. He's like that I think almost changes the narrative and kind of how his season's gone. If he can kind of will the Senators into the playoffs without Sanderson and Shabbat.
I can't believe I've never seen a goaltender better in my life than John Gibson against the 2025-26 Ottawa Senators. It's unbelievable.
His numbers are pretty good. I'll dig them up for you in a second, tell you what they fully are. But he looks like the John Gibson of 2014 or whatever it is. Like, he has been outstanding.
Yeah.
Can it change tonight?
My outlook on the game though is far less. What's the word? Like, I obviously they're going to have a huge sense of urgency and they're going to put everything out on the table. And I know like Money Puck and all these different websites are saying there's a 26-point swing, up for grabs here. Man, this is not the end of the season if they lose tonight. It really isn't. Like, it's
just a lot harder.
Yeah, sure. But like, considering what they're going through right now, maybe Jake Sanderson's back by the weekend, right? Like, you can, if you rope a dope and potentially get a point, like, that's as good as a win in my point of view.
Okay, a point is a lot different than no points. I know it's a single point.
Yeah.
However, I think that point is massive tonight. If they give up, if it's a 4-point swing with Detroit, it makes it a lot more. There's going to be 10 games left after tonight.
And if they find a way to win, a way to win tonight, they are. I find it hard to. I mean, their schedule's hard, but I think they're going to make the playoffs. Like, they have the tie. Just the other thing is they have the tiebreaker on everyone.
Yeah.
So they don't have to surpass anyone in a sense. They just have to match them. There's a lot of other games going on. If the out of town scoreboard finally goes their way, which it hasn't been, they could be as the first. Like, they could be really close to the the last spot in the third spot in the Atlantic, if they can win tonight and then maybe beat Pittsburgh. Like, they're really close.
Alex. We just want a playoff spot.
I know, but
in the playoffs.
I agree.
You're so greedy.
I'm so greedy. Yeah, but they're right there.
A win tonight puts them. A win tonight and everybody else loses. Win in regulation, though, will put them into a playoff spot, if I'm not mistaken. If my math is mathing.
If everyone else loses, the yes.
Yeah, I think if they beat Detroit in OT or shootout, they would still be.
Oh yeah. You're
if the Islanders lose, or Columbus, I believe.
Yeah. So by tomorrow, Ottawa will be rocking a playoff spot. John Gibson, just so you know, is as you know, 3-0. He's a 231 goals against average and a 919 save percentage against Ottawa this season.
Which considering how the NHL has been tracking shots this season is basically like a 950.
However, Callum, and your glass half full, in Detroit, he has his lowest save percentage at 864 in the 3 games.
Good pull, Wally.
Yeah. So let's get to that game. This show brought to you by Bet365. Hockey fans, there's nothing like the tension of a close game. One late back check, one bounce can be the difference between a playoff push and an early tee time. That's why Bet365, an official partner of the NHL, offers 3-goal early payout. If your team is if the team you're backing jumps out to a 3-goal lead at any point in the game, Bet365 will pay out your bet early. So while the action on the ice may be stressful, your bet doesn't have to be. Bet365. Download the app today. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. May not come as a shock to you, gentlemen. The Sens are not the favorites in this game tonight. But that didn't deter me. I took them to win this game. And I keep taking a Drake Batherson goal until he scores again, basically is what's happening now. So we'll see if I hit the parlay.
I think he'd hit his career high, no, if he scores or tie it.
He would, but I need him to get on with it, basically.
Do you tell him that? I see you sitting with Drake quite a bit. Do you tell him that?
No, I never, ever bring up betting in the locker room, ever.
Yeah,
I wonder why.
No.
Yeah. Yes, sitting in the stall next to him, which I believe is a certain someone.
Yeah, but I never even say like, "Hey Tim, thanks for scoring last night. You made me like $100." Like no, never ever do I discuss anything to do with betting around the players. I feel it's safer that way.
41 game suspension from hosting Coming in Hot.
Oh wait, I could go on vacation.
Unpaid suspension.
I could paint the family room. Anyway, there is the lines. Go to Bet365 and check them out if you want. The schedule is tight coming up. Still not easy, right? You got the rejuvenated Erik Karlsson rolling around, and then Tampa coming to town. Hopefully Florida, or not coming to town. They go to Florida. And I don't like it when they go to Florida. Not to mention, they're going to have 2 off days before they face Florida, which is a guaranteed night at the Elbow Room. So I don't like the Florida trip.
Nope. I was just looking at Tankathon. They have the 4th toughest remaining schedule. So
Florida?
No, Ottawa does.
Oh, because last night it was the 6th toughest.
Well, it's because you drop off the New York Rangers, the worst team in the league, or worst team in the East. But
holy crap, are they bad?
Oh,
like there was a huge ceremony. Your buddy's got 1,000 games. One of the legends of the New York Rangers, apparently he's 4th all-time or tied for scoring, Mika Zibanejad. And he wanted to score. No one else did. They offered nothing except they wanted to push them around. They lead the league in hits. You could tell early on they were trying to be physical. But that's a bad Ranger team.
I think their efforts far worse than like what they look on paper, and they also have a good coach as well. Like I've noticed there's a few teams this year that have just completely given up, and I know like I think the Flames have bounced back like slightly since they played them on the Western Swing, but they looked like they didn't even want to show up that night. The Vancouver Canucks looked horrible. The Leafs, I mean, like these teams, I can't remember. A lot of the times, and we've seen this from the Sens like in the past few years, right, where seasons pretty much lost, but they finish hard and actually to their detriment in drafts, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I can remember seeing this many teams just completely quit on whoever you want to call it, their coach, their fans, themselves, like just putrid hockey. Because they have a decent power play in New York, like at least like options, skill and talent wise, right? They got an incredible goaltender. This team should actually be stringing together a few wins, and they have just completely thrown the towel.
Why did they make JT Miller their captain? I will never just. And that cross check on Shabbat, like, what are you doing? Like, I know some people wanted to retribute. Yeah.
All right, let's get into this. Yeah. You can start, Alex. Give me your thoughts on the play. And then we can get to the Brady Tkachuk comments later.
I thought it was dirty. I don't think it was as egregious as maybe a certain hit, a Radko Gudas play a couple weeks ago. But I thought it was a dirty play. Like, he's clearly not going for the puck. He's just trying to cross-check him. I just didn't like the play. It was unnecessary late. Like the period is basically over. Like, they're not stopping anything. But I'm sure he throws those types of cross-checks a ton during the game. Like, he's that kind of player. So, again, just didn't like the play and obviously resulted in a terrible injury.
Cal?
It's just unfortunate. Like, I know he's, Miller has a bit of a history of being like maybe a slightly dirty player at times, but to me, that play happens 30 times a night.
Yes.
And it's just unfortunate that it happened to hit Shabbat in one of the very few spots on your entire body that has no padding. And it's like how fast the game is. There's no way in the world he was able to actually do that. So, and on top of that, like I know you're going to get to Brady here, but like I saw a lot of fans like wanting someone to take a chunk out of JT Miller, and Artem Zub tried to do something there, I guess. But I don't know, man. Like, the situation, when you talk about the Leafs, like, there was no reason, they had no reason not to go insane after that hit. And Ottawa kind of had every reason to actually keep their cool in that game, right? So, I don't know. To me, it's just simply unfortunate. That's it.
I don't think the play's dirty. That type of cross-check is not from behind. He's in front of you. You're engaged with him. All players do it. So I don't have a problem with the hit. I don't know if I have a problem with the response or not. And because we've made such a big deal over the Austin Matthews thing. It's not a dirty play. It's not the Radko Gudas knee on knee. However, you're down a D. Now he's your best D at the time. Do you need to respond because you're going to know probably that it's the extent of the injury in the intermission? Like,
I wonder if they went up like 4-5-0. That's when,
right?
Like, if the game was out of doubt, like, I think they probably would have responded. But as Callum said from the top, like, they needed that game.
Yeah.
Like, they could not afford to take a 5-minute dumb penalty when the shots are 25-4. So, and then you get the Rangers back in the game. So
the only question I have is if this was a dirty hit from behind, knee on knee, any of that stuff, I think the response is different.
1,000%.
Yeah.
And like, the furthest I'll go here is that maybe JT Miller should have felt a couple of like crunchy hits late in the game. Didn't really see that much, right? I think there's fault in that. And then you kind of got to end the conversation because, again, I don't like it when clean hits, and obviously it wasn't a clean hit, but I don't like it when there's just the huge retribution for clean hits or accidental injuries and whatnot. I think you could have stood up a little bit more, but there's no need like for Wrigley Gregg to drop the gloves and break his hand on JT Miller's helmet for that type of cross check.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
And you're in this position where it's like, if you lose Brady Tkachuk for 5 minutes, like midway through the second period, and now it's 2-2 because you've given up 2 goals on the power play because he's done I just think sometimes like time, place, score, like who you're playing, you're not going to play the Rangers again. Like, they're out of the like. There's no what's the point, but it just didn't make sense. I think if they were up 4-5-0, which they should have been, then maybe you take a couple more licks at them.
Wally, can I just make one last point here? I think also one of the reasons why people in Leafland and outside were so critical of, the 5 guys or the 4 other guys that were on the ice was because that team doesn't stick up for each other. They didn't with Anthony Stolarz. They haven't in the entire season. This Ottawa Senators team does. And I think they pick their spots properly. And last night, I don't think Thomas Shabbat like is in the intermission screaming at his teammates for not taking a run at JT Miller. I think they all are on the same page here. And if they hadn't stuck up for one another earlier in the season, it'd be a different story. But it had been that way. They are a gritty team. They showed that against the New York Islanders on Thursday. And they stick up for each other. This is not like we don't need to have a summit on whether or not the Ottawa Senators are a tough team and like have each other's back. It's just not the case.
So I would like them to be a little bit tougher, like if they play the Tampa Bay Lightning, can they match them like they saw like the Buffalo game where everybody was in on it?
I think so. I think Tim Stützle was like underrated, a little bit Kucherov in that way, where he will snipe, bark, kind of give you a little cross checks. Like I like kind of who he is, like compared to like certain Leafs where I feel like they never have that kind of in him. Like I think obviously Brady's Brady and now he can fight. I'm not really worried about him being physical. I think Ottawa's top guys like bring it. I like Dylan Cousins. I think he has gotten a couple fights. He loves to kind of go at, I forget who was going at it yesterday, but he likes to chime. I think they're tough enough. I don't think they're that big though in their forward group. Like they don't have a lot of big mean guys outside of Tkachuk. That's
what I'm saying. Like they don't have Curtis McDermott. That I'm going to be careful here. That can play. They don't have that. They don't have that big like Mark Kastelik type who's a big physical presence that will Tanner Jeannot that can actually get up and down the ice. They don't have that, and I wish they did have that somewhere in the lineup. I know Brady is the guy typically, but I don't want a guy in the top 6 being one of those to do it. Question is tonight because is it Edmondson that they continue to tangle every once in a while? Will they resume their friendly acquaintances?
How chippy do you think tonight will be?
That's what I'm curious about. The game is so important.
I think that it's in Detroit's best interest to make it chippy. You're going to wear down a team that is like not only physically like tired, but mentally like the bad luck that this team has gone through. And I guess you can include goaltending in there, but they've dealt with a lot of injuries this year. They were really, really healthy for like a 2.5 month stretch between early January and like just after the Olympic break, where they kind of got their game back together. But they've dealt with some really, really significant injuries this year. Brady, Pinto, Chabot twice now, Sanderson. Like if I'm Detroit, I am starting this game not really caring about the score that much and just trying to send a message and set the tone, right? Because the longer this game goes on, tied or within a goal, I think it's in Detroit's favor for sure.
And Detroit's 3-4-2 in their last 9 games. They haven't been playing great. I know they've had significant injuries with Dylan Larkin and Andrew Kopp in the lineup. Larkin is off IR. I suspect he may be back in the lineup tonight. Unless you guys have confirmed it. I haven't confirmed it. I just heard that he might be.
He's a game time decision last time I saw. So the one thing just like kind of on the point of how physical like the fisticuffs between the two teams, I think for the Senators, Detroit's power play is really good and kind of burned them in the 3 matchups. I think they have to be really disciplined because I think if it's at 5-on-5, even without Sanderson and Shabbat, Ottawa, like you've seen it, they've outshot. Well, what's the combined total of how they've outshot Toronto and the Rangers the last 2
Well, they've
games?
only given up 23 shots in the last 2 games.
And those are bad teams, but still if it's 5-on-5, if the game's at 5-on-5, I really like Ottawa's chances. If it's a kind of special teams battle without Sanderson, Chabot, I don't like it. So I think if you're the Sens, just play at 5-on-5, you'll be right there. Hopefully you capitalize, and I think they have to win the game 2-1, 3-2 like they have been of late.
Quick math, I think it's plus 53 differential shots for the past 2 games. It's crazy.
By the way, it was a franchise record, if you're tuning in late, that the Sens established, allowing just 9 shots on goal to the New York Rangers. It's also the lowest in the modern salary cap era, I believe.
Yeah.
Like, you saw it after, like we've seen, they held the Islanders to a shot. We've seen 2 shots occasionally. I think they've done it 7 times in a period. I didn't think they would keep them under 10. That's for sure, especially with perhaps a late period, 3rd period push. But there was no fight in the New York Rangers last night.
It's also a testament to the Sens. Like they they've given up the fewest amount of shots in the league this year. I think Travis Green's done a heck of a job just with the way they play structurally. Basically, they dump the puck in a lot just so they don't get burned in transition. And they become such a good defensive team. And again, that's the other thing. Without Chabot and Sanderson, I think the team's good enough defensively, even without them, to stay in these games. I don't know if they'll be able to score enough, and maybe, Yakemchuk, Donovan will get exposed, which would make sense. But I think they're going to be right there in a bunch of these games because they just play so sound. And their forward depth is just, outside of maybe Colorado, Dallas, I can't think of too many teams that just depth-wise have as good forwards. It's like they have 2 20-goal guys on their fourth line with Lars Eller, who's won a cup and has played in the league forever and is a great player. And like that pass he made to Fogle yesterday, like they're just a super deep defensive team. And I think that'll benefit them down the stretch, even without the big losses of Sanderson and Shabbat.
I think the reason why Travis's structure and strategy has worked out so well is because it's perfect for this team, right?
Yeah.
He's not taking a team that has a bunch of like top 9 forwards that could score 30 goals and like our power play specialists and whatnot. Like Tim Stützle's crazy skilled. We know that for sure. You got a lot of great playmakers like in Giroux. Drake Batherson has a lot of skill for sure. There's no question about that. But the vast majority of this forward core is actually made up of guys that are built for a grinding game. And like when Alex talks about the dump-in rate, like that is totally by design. Travis knows that this forward core has a lot of guys that win a ton of puck battles. They have really, really great active sticks. Like that third line has like the best stick lift, poke check, like ability to win those loose pucks and those 50-50 battles and those puck battles along the boards. They just don't have a ton of guys that can beat defensemen with speed or like navigate their way through the neutral zone. So I don't know if he's just simply tried this everywhere he's gone, but it is the perfect structure for this team.
It's interesting you bring up. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think it's interesting. I think part of coaching is understanding who you have and how to utilize them properly. And I think on Callum's point, like he knows there's no 50-goal scorer walking in the build. Like they're not going to outscore teams. They have Jake Sanderson when he's healthy, who might be the best defensive defenseman in the league outside of maybe Jacob Slavin. Like they have all these great forecheckers, really good 200-foot players with Amadio, Pinto, Cousins, Eller, Fogle, right? So I'm going to play a 2-1-3-2 structured game, and I'm going to maximize my team to play their best, and he's done that.
Quickly before I move on, there's a poll up in the chat if you believe that the Sens responded the right way or the wrong way with the Thomas Chabot injury. So I'll let you two know in a sec what it is. But Callum, you brought up the speed factor, and I know there was a concern from the organization going into this season that they didn't have a lot of gifted skaters. And at the time they had Shabbat, Tim Stützle, Jake Sanderson, and I think they were really concerned about that. They've since they brought in Jordan Spence. They added in the summer. They knew it. Warren Fogel's another. I think Lars Eller's a pretty good skater for a guy that plays that position on the fourth line. You can see the adjustment they've made to make this team a little bit quicker, but there still needs to be speed added to this roster.
Man, let's just talk about Warren Fogle for a bit. Like that fourth line has been completely transformed. And honestly, the forward core in that way, like the fourth line not only enables Travis to roll all lines, throughout the game, but also Fogle has the ability to play in a bunch of different scenarios. And on top of that too, like we've noticed it in, I believe, the Washington and New York game last week. Fogle had some shifts up in the top 6 later in the game when the fourth line was kind of like waning, like maybe a little bit. So he's completely given Travis a totally different look. And man, I don't know what was going on in LA this year, but it seems to be the right fit here because he could play more minutes. He's kind of around that 11, 12, 13 minute mark. And he just looks energized every single time he's out there. The fourth line has turned over so many pucks in the high slot and around the offensive blue line. And it's not him like picking them up, but he's forcing those turnovers. He like, look at the goal last night, right? Yeah. A great forecheck. I don't know why the New York defenseman didn't rim the puck the other way around. It was kind of a bonehead move there, but he's forcing so many pucks to be thrown up the middle of the ice, and Zetterlund and Eller are doing a great job at, jumping on them and creating something. And Eller obviously was the beneficiary of that hard play there, but he makes a great saucer pass over there and 2-0 game winner goal.
Okay, so I asked this yesterday to my fellow colleagues. Would you consider moving Warren Foegele up the lineup?
I could see them putting him on the line with Stützle and Batherson. I really like Claude Giroux, but I just feel like his game's kind of waned the past little while. Like
I think he's been great.
Oh, he's a really good player. I just wonder if
I just mean recently. I think he's been great, but maybe I'm wrong.
I'd like another goal scorer beside Timmy, just because he creates so much, and Fogel's fast too. And Giroux, as great as he is, he's not a goal scorer anymore. But I like the way Travis Green's deployed his units. And it was interesting, like Callum touched upon it, like in that game against New York, the Islanders, they're down 2-1 kind of midway through the game, and he puts Stützle alongside Zetterlund and Foegele. They get that goal, and then they come back and win the game. And I think that's the versatility that Travis Green has now to deploy. And I think you look at the third line, they've been great. The Cousins, Greg, Tkachuk line, I feel like they've waned a little bit the past couple games, but they're still pretty effective. So do you want to break them up? They played together for 2 months. It's kind of a big message if you break them up. And then obviously,
is it? How many lines do you think in the National Hockey League have stayed together for the entire season? 10%? That even seems high to me.
The one thing is, if you break up the Cousins line with Tkachuk, do you play Tkachuk with Stützle, right? I think the benefit of having them separated is that they come at you with waves rather than kind of overloading them. And that's really worked. Like they're on this huge heater right now. So do you break up what's working when you're on a run? I don't think so. But if they lose a game or two here and there, I could see Foegele going up and maybe Ridley Gregg going down to the third line or even the fourth line. And because I think Foegele just has a scoring touch that top six kind of needs.
Okay, I just wrote it down that you hate Claude Giroux. So go ahead, Callum.
Yeah, Claude's gonna love that. I imagine that with the quality of competition increasing significantly in the past, in the final 3.5 weeks of the season here. I don't know if they finish the regular season or hopefully get into the playoffs with these same lines, but I think we'll see some different looks, because it was really easy, I think, for Travis to stick to his guns the past little while when you have, a couple of really good teams sprinkled in with a lot of bottom feeders and teams that are completely out of the picture. But I think what you're going to see is him tighten up the top 9 a little bit and move Foegele up to the first line for a few games here and there. I think that if you're going to go heavy in the top 9, you move Giroux to the third line, you bring Nick Cousins down to the fourth, you put Foegele up to the top line, and you kind of just give the fourth line a few shifts a night. Because that second line, to me, actually is, like, if they make the postseason, I think that Greg, Cousins, and Tkachuk are really, really important as a trio in those heavier games. Like, I know you mentioned, what do they do if they face like a Buffalo or a Tampa Bay in the playoffs? To me, it's a line like that you can use as kind of like a bit of a, not necessarily like a second shutdown line, but that immediately becomes the line that you throw out with the biggest guys in the teams to make sure you're not pushed around. Like, I appreciate what Alex said about how like Timmy is harder to play against. That's how I would say. I don't think he's a guy that's going to go out there and like set the tone physically and make sure you're not pushed around. He's harder to play against for sure. But that second line is such a difficult line to push around that I think that you can use it to like bring back momentum. They had a couple of shifts last night where they just have the puck like below the goal line in the offensive zone for 30 or 40 seconds straight. And that really wears teams down. But I think that the like best scenario is obviously everyone's playing well and you can roll these four lines. But I think that if you're in trouble, you're going to move Foegele up and have a stronger top 9.
Ani likes to say or writes, Timmy plays on the fourth line a lot, which I saw again last night. I don't know if we need to move Fogle up when Timmy just stays on, which is true. They kind of play that line. God, if you have Tim Stützle and Warren Fogle on a line, it's really not a fourth line at that point. Like, no. Stating the obvious, but it just seems like they've been able to do a lot. The one thing that's disappointing is because the lines are all playing so well, we have to manufacture ideas in our head of what we could talk about. Like, I've never seen a team play this well, this consistently, this long. And you're like you don't have, there's not a lot of guys you can single out and go, he's not playing very well, or he's not playing very, yeah, guys have off nights. You can pick on a guy that doesn't score every 5 games or whatever. But I don't know how you find fault in the lineup the way it is currently constructed. Could they have more star players? Well, sure. But the way this team plays, it leaves you not a lot to complain about other than where they are in the standings.
Well, it's what Travis Green always says. It's like, if I'm keeping the same lineup, that means I like how they're playing, right? Like, he's not going to change it. And it's interesting, like at the beginning of the year, he'd flip guys all the time because they weren't playing very well. And like, they haven't had a bad game in 2 months, like a true bad game since mid-January. And that's a testament to them. And that's why we're not talking about like Fogle being on the first line or not. It's because everyone's playing well. It's like, okay, it's working. Like, why change it, right?
Yeah, it's so weird. We always used to joke about Travis Green. I liked our game. And we're like, wait, but you lost, because you had a 750 save percentage. But it's true. Like, the team plays a really good brand of hockey. Who I'd like to see some AI of Travis Green takes his mask off and it's like Jacques Lemaire hidden underneath. No? Okay. It's just me. Poll.
I wouldn't like to see any AI.
Well, then you don't watch the show. The poll, do you think the Sens responded the right way to the Shabbat injury? 76% said yes. So I don't know I don't know if Alex, we just blame Alex for the other people or not, but 76% said yes.
It helps when you win.
I think that the question, though, is kind of like a 51 to 49% kind of, like, I don't think anyone's losing their mind over how they responded, or like vice versa, how
Toronto fans are.
Yeah. I just think like no one's out there thinking that like JT Miller should have been sent to the hospital last night, right? I think it's like, could have been a little bit better. It's either yes or no there. You know what I mean?
I agree with you completely. I think the score, the timing of where they are in the play, like all that stuff plays a factor in how that response is 100%. I have a quick question before you guys take off for the day. Yesterday in the show, I brought up how much I despise Costco and hate shopping there. I'm just curious, what time of day do you guys like to go shopping at Costco?
So in my family, my dad despises Costco. So yes. I think so I would say I'm on the Wally train there. In terms of time, I feel like I always go afternoon after Sens practice. I feel like that's kind of, the day's kind of been set. I have some time. I get my groceries. So that's kind of my answer, but not at Costco. I'm a Loblaws guy. That's me.
No, but the question is about Costco.
Yeah. Okay, I am a proud card-carrying Costco Gold member, and I go like probably once every 3 weeks or something like that. I have 1,000 takes, but my number one, and I don't have I would like to go at open, but it never ends up working out.
Yeah.
Costco should not be a family experience. Okay.
Thank you.
These aisles are large. They're not that large. Please, at the most, it should be, spouses or whatever. And if it was
just one person, you're allowed one person at a time.
Or if a child can fit in the cart, they are allowed to come. But I don't get this whole like everyone and their grandparents. Let's go go down every aisle and get and taste the samples. Yeah, and look at the new like chickpea pasta that just came in, or try on shoes together. Like, guys, I know it's a warehouse, but there's not a single open parking spot. Like,
no, never.
Wally, it drives me insane. I love the store, and I will say one of the reasons why it's still worth it to go is the cashiers. They have 2 people working every line, and they
that's
are
a well-oiled machine.
But please stop having family reunions at Costco. Please.
I got pushed out of the way the other day just looking at a pair of shoes.
I listened to the show yesterday.
I was like, what just happened? Anyway, Alex, I can't believe you. Do you get a hot dog? Does anybody? You see, I knew it.
At Costco?
I knew it. Yeah,
I sometimes do. Yeah.
No, I'm right by. I don't have to.
I love hot dogs. It's better than the Sens media food, so I have to find it somewhere.
Well, what do you get? Loblaws used to have like free cookies. I remember when I went as a kid with.
Oh yeah.
You
go to
the
bakery, you go to the bakery.
Free cookies, yeah.
Or you didn't have to be a kid either.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that the most embarrassing part? Being like 30 and grabbing free cookies at Loblaws.
No,
I wouldn't know, man.
No,
okay. No shame.
That's true.
But like,
I knew that.
I know you want to wrap up the show here, Wally, but like, can we? You shouted out Loblaws. Like, is it just because of like proximity? Like Loblaws.
Yeah, it's proximity and mostly proximity. It's like 5 minutes away from me, so.
Okay, sense. So you're not a Loblaws guy. You're I don't want to drive more than 3 minutes guy.
You're lazy.
Okay. I'm lazy. You guys know, you've been around me enough in the press box. I'm lazy. That's my.
You're lazy with the trivia questions.
Hey, I gave a great one, and you gave me, you know what, and then you liked it in the end. So
yeah, but it was still your same old structure. That is just okay. We can get into this another time, but like we need more creativity. Shout out Evan. Okay, AJ, a lot of great questions. Alex, you need to step up your game, man.
Last question, since I've seen it in the chat. Which one is worse to go to, especially on a Saturday, IKEA or Costco?
I
feel like Costco.
I will say it depends, because if you're going to Costco, you're picking something up. IKEA can just be fun, right? You know how many times like I've gone into IKEA and not bought anything?
That's because by the time I'm on the second floor of having to loop around the entire third floor, I just want out.
Yeah.
I'm out of, you know what? That is a family vacation for people. Let's check the beds. Let's look at a kitchen we're never going to buy. Yeah, maybe we should get this planter. No, you're not going to use the planter. No,
well,
it's
let
fun.
Let me ask you a question. Are you the kind of guy that will like full on lay out on a couch there?
No.
I feel so weird doing that.
I do. I shouldn't even tell it. We bought a hot tub once. Well, we still have it. And I wanted to test it. So I went to the store and sat in it on the showroom floor. I'm like, okay, all right. So then I bought it. They're like, no, I want my swimsuit. They're like, you want to do that? I'm like, yeah, I want to test it out.
And how would it have not gone well?
Well, I wanted to see if the Jets were like, before I shell out that kind of money, I want to know what it's like.
Sure.
Wait, hold on. You weren't joking? You actually in your bathing suit?
Yeah.
No. What?
100%.
This isn't like a no water situation where you just jump in with your feet, like shoes on. Wally.
Full hot tub.
You went and test drove a hot tub?
Yeah. It was awesome.
Alex, you're absolved of your Loblaws sin. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well done steak.
Yeah.
Trying out hot tubs in public.
See, as the loud collector says, smart shopper.
Oh my God. Do you also like if you're buying new underwear, like
No, because I have the same pair, 20 pairs of the same. I already know what it is. You got to just give me one. Yeah.
By the way, and I could talk about underwear forever. I'm a big
well, it won't too bad. The show's over. Gentlemen, nice to see both of you. I appreciate it. This was actually fun, and I enjoyed it a lot more than when I'm with the other guys. Just don't tell them. So we'll have you back on again. We'll call it like from I called it the hot stove originally. I thought that was pretty good. And then
I feel like it's got to be a bit more. Like Hot Stove is putting Alex and I way too high on the
exactly.
It's got to be something that
The
like
low
taking a shot.
stove?
No, like what about like two idiots and a host or something like that? Like that.
But who's the idiot? Okay.
yeah, who's the host?
And a host. Come on.
I went but the show's it's not about you. It was about me when I named it the Hot Stove since it's coming in
Since
hot.
you're so hot.
I am a part.
I will say they said coming in hot on the broadcast last night. I don't know if you caught that.
Oh, yeah.
I sent Joe. I tweeted at Jody because of it because Graham had given him the note, and so he had said coming in hot and then used the note, and so that's why I said well played, Jody Shelley. So I just wish I could anyway. I wish I could rewind Prime games, but you can't because of the way it's. Anyway, they do good stuff. All right.
I can on my TV. I'm on my laptop. Anyways, well done with Wally.
We'll work on it then. Gentlemen, thanks for your time. I appreciate both of you hopping on. This was a lot of fun. And let's see how tonight goes. And Alex, be a little more positive next time, okay?
I will. I'll be the positive guy.
A little more positive.
Wally's already texted Claude Giroux.
Sens bucket hat.
Oh, the rally cap. Yeah,
the
okay.
Rally cap. There you go. Awesome.
See you tomorrow, everybody.
See you boys.
Thanks for tuning in to Coming In Hot. If you enjoyed the show, hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to never miss an episode.